My name's Georgia Byrne and I'm going to be presenting my script idea for a short film. It's called Don't Wait for Love and this is its Irish translation. So the theme of my short film would be romance. The main characters are Finn and Emmett, and the other characters are Tara and Owen, which are Finn's wife and son. There's Lara and Kiva, which is Emmett's wife and daughter. There'd be Sergeant Byrne, Corporal Clifton, a bartender and various other soldiers. The plot basically, there's two Irish soldiers from different backgrounds and classes and they say goodbye to their wives and children in 1997 and go back to the barracks in Canada, and they later fall in love whilst they're in the barracks. It all spirals downhill, but they meet again at a referendum in 2015, which is when Ireland legalised gay marriage. So the setting, the film starts in Dublin, which would be Finn's hometown, and then moves to Galway, which is Emmett's hometown, and that's in 1997, and it continues in Canada in an army barracks, so a time and place where gay people were hugely frowned upon. The film ends in a recent era, which would be 2015, where morals, politics and views have changed hugely and Ireland legalises gay marriage. The duration for my film would be about 20 to 30 minutes. So in detail, in the first scene it's set in 1997 and they say goodbye to loved ones like their wives and children and they leave to go back to the barracks in Canada. And in the second scene they unpack at the barracks and we see the similarities through actions when training, like when they're doing agilities. The shot will show them side by side, acting the same and having the same mannerisms, etc. And eventually they meet in a bar when they get chucked out because they're both too drunk and they stumble home together. In the third scene they re-meet in the same bar and get drunk again together, returning to Emmett's flat. They enjoy cigarettes and we see the two flirting. Finn falls asleep in Emmett's room on his bottom bunk and wakes up to the sergeant shouting. In the fourth scene, when arriving at a national park when they're doing their training, Finn and Emmett pair up during a shelter building exercise and they stay together for a week in the shelter and they become very close and very passionate, and this is when they share their first kiss. In the fifth scene, the week comes to an end and they share the first kiss. They try to ignore their lives at home and keep the relationship hidden from the rest of the soldiers because in 1997 it wasn't only frowned upon in Ireland to be in a homosexual relationship, it was hugely not allowed in the army. In the sixth scene, the men open up about the homosexual relationship. They're in love and fantasise about the future together, so they discuss marriage and they kind of forget about their lives at home. In the seventh scene, Finn and Emmett return home to Ireland and are spotted by both their wives kissing under a cove at a train station. Finn's kicked out by his wife Tara, but Lara doesn't want to humiliate herself and chooses to ignore it to an extent, and she allows Emmett back home. But in scene 8 we see that Emmett's marriage has fallen apart. He resists temptation to call Finn, and the film shows them both distressed and their lives are completely a mess. And in the ninth scene, it's now 2015, the two are living alone. They both re-meet at a referendum and Ireland changes its laws towards gay marriage. And in the 10th scene we glimpse at the future. They're married, their ex-wives are supportive of them, the ex-soldiers are supportive of them, surprisingly, and they have a happy future together. So ideas and inspirations. Firstly, my first inspiration for this was talking to a classmate. Because my brother is in the army at the moment, he's a corporal, I just so happened to be talking about that, and my classmate also said that her brother was in the army. So this gave me like an inkling of two male soldiers that might know each other, so that's where it started. And that's where the personal family experience came from. And also movies such as I Love You, Philip Morris. this maybe shows, again, it's set in a different time. This is like 15 years ago, and they're in a prison, so it's really difficult to keep a homosexual relationship healthy in such a, you know, frowned upon setting. And Brokeback Mountain. So coming back to the theme in a bit more detail, in films of romance there's usually always an antagonist and a protagonist. In this case, Finn would be the protagonist because he's kind of going on a journey. He wants the relationship to work, and he's willing to fully dedicate his life to the relationship, and his entire relationship wasn't all exciting anyway. But however, Emmett would be the antagonist as he decides to take back his wife Lara, so that puts a strain on the relationship, leaving Finn in a messy situation and almost ruining their relationship. So he's kind of challenging and questioning the relationship throughout. So the film also sometimes hints at Emmett's questionability. Where would it be filmed? I would like my film to be captured realistically, and so I've found local scenery to fit, for example Holcombe Moor Training Camp or Bury Castle Armoury in Bury. These are shown here. They are actually used by, you know, armies or cadets for training, so they look very realistic. And I also would like a Manchester pub or bar. How would it be filmed? Ideally I would make sure I captured the scenery in my short film with many wide shots and capture the intense romantic moments with close-ups. I would use fades or cuts to show long or short passing of time, and considering it jumps from 1997 to 2015, I feel like fades would work well. To differentiate from the 1997 parts of the film and the 2015 parts, I'll age the look of the characters and alter their fashion, as well as brighten the scenery for 2015. In the referendum, for example, I would like a white room, a lot of sun shining through to give it a more modern look, including the interior, exterior design, as well as using different cameras for more authentic and rustic looks. So what were the challenges? First, the dialogue. How do people of other sexual orientations and nationalities talk? Is there any slang? So basically, because it's set in Ireland, I needed to know how Irish people talk on an everyday basis and what slang they use. But thankfully I've got a lot of Irish family, so I kind of listen to that every day. But the sexual orientations, I had to research into, you know, the struggles of how gay people, how they would talk every day in front of people that don't support them. And also changing my ideas from a beat sheet and step outline. I found that when I was writing my script, I would be looking back at my beat sheet and I'd want to change something, so then I'd have to change the beat sheet as well. And keeping the story interesting and not getting carried away with general chat. So just basically, it was quite hard to sometimes not keep rambling on and writing general chat. I needed to keep it interesting. So, any questions?
Yeah. Do you have any idea of what you want the characters to look like?
Yeah, Emmett, I'd like him to have like slick back, black hair. I'd like him to look quite, you know, well done and posh. Preferably pale skin, blue eyes, and tall and slim. Finn, I want him to have more of like a rugged look, like a beard, quite a punky guy. Not as bothered about his appearance, but more of a dad type figure.
Do you not think it's important though, because it's based on like the army and military, that got to be quite accurate with uniforms and everything though?
Yeah, I mean, if the army would want him to shave, then you can do that later on, but Yeah.
Okay. How is writing about a gay romance different to a straight romance story?
With gay romances, there's a lot of people that don't support them. There's a lot of questionability and negative people. So I had to kind of watch quite a few films and research how that might be difficult.
Cool. Why is it set in Ireland, not England? Because or America even.
I don't know, because I've got a lot of family in Ireland and things. I just wanted to really do an Irish novel.
Is it because they've only just kind of come into
and that because gay marriage was only legalised last year. I thought I'd do something recent.